She deliberately scattered 50 chocolates at the stairwell, timing it perfectly with the senior executive's routine, then rushed down the stairs in a flurry. And just as planned, she tumbled right into his arms. The man in front of her was now her target, and she was determined to win. But the reason behind this act was revenge against her former best friend, Misa. Just last night, at their class reunion, she and Misa had a dramatic falling out in front of everyone. Back in high school, she'd spread a rumor that Misa had stolen her boyfriend, which led to Misa being completely isolated by the class. But now, the truth had finally come to light, exposing the decade-long fake friendship they'd maintained. And just as she stormed out in anger, she saw Director Suzuki from their company, holding an umbrella for Misa. Right then, a new scheme took shape in Rina's mind. No matter what, she was going to destroy Misa's happiness. To execute her plan, Rina followed Misa during her lunch break, all the way to a quiet cafe. When she saw Misa meeting an old classmate named Yuto, she immediately jumped in, pretending to make amends. But what Rina didn't know was that Misa had already seen through her fake smile. What Rina couldn't possibly imagine is that Misa had been reborn, back from over a decade in the future. In 2025, it was Rina who had pushed her off a building, and in this second life, Misa had one goal: revenge. She would make Rina marry her beast of a husband, and live out the miserable life that was meant for her. But what Misa didn't expect was that the timeline had started to change. In her last life, Rina didn't break up with her boyfriend until Christmas Eve. So why did it happen earlier this time? Then she followed Rina's gaze, and suddenly it all made sense. Director Suzuki had entered the picture, and Rina had clearly shifted targets. After all, compared to her stingy loser of a boyfriend, Director Suzuki was every inch the elite. Back at the office, Misa was faced with a new set of problems. Due to her toxic boss's pressure, the section chief had to keep reworking the project proposal. In her last life, Misa had stepped in to help, working herself to exhaustion. Because of her overtime, the section chief's daughter had no one to pick her up from school, and ended up with a serious injury. And in the end, her boss still picked the very first version of the proposal. So this time, Misa wasn't going to lift a finger. As expected, even without her help, the man still chose the original plan. But here's the twist. The accident that once happened to the section chief, it hit the boss instead. Meanwhile, Rina was still on the offensive, deliberately asking Misa's boyfriend out for coffee, and constantly putting Misa down during the chat. But Misa had no time for their drama. She was laser-focused on building her career, until she saw Director Suzuki sneaking into the stairwell. And when he turned around, she discovered a shocking secret.